reiterate, we are just working out our technical difficulties with connecting with the Unity Pavilion in Auroville. And so feel free to greet each other and say hello. You can also use the chat to send a personal message if you see someone you're really excited to talk to.
I see some people gathering there under Aurosugan's name in a room. Is that Unity Pavilion?
That should be, huh? Let's see.
I think I see a Larry over there.
That's yours over there.
Hi, Jocelyn.
I'm unmuting.
Yeah.
There's Jocelyn.
Oh yeah, there they are.
There's Unity
There
Pavilion.
they are
Yay.
coming through.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I see Gordon.
Hi, Unity Pavilion. If you see us, wave.
Larry. Lisbeth. Oh.
Ooh, there's some feedback there. We can see you, but your audio is not clear yet.
Try again.
No, we can't hear you.
Nothing.
The audio isn't coming through.
Yeah,
You
sign
can
language
pantomime,
B.
that's right.
Act it out, B.
Can you dance it?
I don't know if they can hear us. Oh, there he can hear us. For sure. Hi, Jules. Thank you for figuring this out for us, Jules.
So feel free to talk among yourselves and chats to each other. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes. Oh, all of a sudden, I think we hear something.
So Binah was a little girl. She was little, my children. So fun to remember people from so long ago.
Exactly.
Oh, they can hear me.
We can hear you, Andrea. So good to see you.
I was just telling my friend Andy here, introducing you, Binah, that you were a little girl when we were in Auroville.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe since it's taking a few minutes to figure out Unity Pavilion, I can just do a little introduction and tell you a little bit about myself and about what's going to happen tonight. What do you think? Or should we give it a couple more minutes?
I mean, I think that because it seems like they can hear us, that we can go ahead and get started. And hopefully by the time we got to the part where they were going to share, that they might have that sorted out.
Okay, cool. So welcome everyone to the Zoom memorial in honor of Daniel Brewer, who passed away this year. My name is Binah, and I work with Auroville International USA, and we're hosting this event in collaboration with the Brewer family. Auroville International USA is a nonprofit that serves Auroville, which is a unique township in South India. We work with institutions and individuals in the US and around the world to support Auroville's development as an experiment in human unity, earth stewardship, and service to the divine. And right now, what I was going to do is pull the curtain back on the Wizard of Oz of our Zoom and have him give you guys some Zoom instructions. My colleague, Julian, has been serving Auroville since the 1970s. He lives in Madhugiri Sri Aurobindo Center near Woodstock with his wife, Wendy, who was also in Auroville in the 1970s. And he is, thank goodness, running this Zoom today. I don't know if he's ready to give you guys some Zoom tips. Are you, Julian?
Well, just welcome everyone. And so always happy to be in the spiritual family zone, known and unknown, this lifetime and previous lifetimes. And always lovely to have Auroville live and to have our dear friends here. There's many of you know the Zoom basics. Please mute yourselves unless you're ready to speak. You can raise your hand like this, or there's actually a little icon at the bottom, reactions, and you can raise and lower your hand with that icon. If you mouse down to the bottom of your screen, then you can send out hearts and so on. But the bottom icon is raising the hand that you can see now in the upper corner of my screen. And there. If when you're ready to speak, we're going to share some videos of Daniel and also the eye care in Auroville. So we'll have a few cutaways, but we also want time for sharing, and just ask that you keep your time limited so that there's time for everyone. And so lovely to be together. So Binah, is there anything that I have left out? You can scroll through the screens. Many of you know the view in the upper right-hand corner. You can put it on speaker view, so whoever is talking becomes bigger than everything else, or the gallery, or immersive, that puts everyone on the screen at the same time. I think we still have room for a few more people on the screen. Or you can go through the screens if more people come and go side to side. In Auroville, people will be coming up to the front and sitting, and we'll be able to focus on them when they have something to share. And we appreciate Jules' effort. He had to reconfigure another laptop, and I'm talking, so I didn't let him in. So now that's the best thing I can do, is let him in. All right, continue, Binah.
You're muted, Binah.
Sorry. I want to remind you guys to use the chats, either to send messages to people as they're speaking, or to make a comment to the group if you don't feel like you're getting heard, or if there's something you'd like to say. I had the privilege of growing up in Auroville in the 1970s as a child of that era. My childhood has gone from hippie in my experience to hip in my children's experience. And I lived in Kodakarai in the 1970s and spent quite a lot of time at the Brewers' households, the extended Brewer families, eating their food and being a kid. And my strongest memory of Daniel from my childhood was a sense of that the world was safe and interesting, and that there was so much to learn about Tamil culture and growing crops, and just a general sense of enthusiasm for life. And I'm really grateful to participate in this event, honoring him today. It's also been really lovely to meet Hiranya as an adult. Since the last time I saw her, she was like 2 years old. And I have to say that in her presence, I experienced some of what I experienced with Daniel, a certain equipoise and strength that is quite lovely. And I'm going to hand it on to her to speak now.
Thank you, Binah. And yeah, today we talked about this lovely word in Spanish called comadre. And I feel that with you too, Binah. This connection that we've made is very special. I would like to begin by thanking you all on behalf of the whole Brewer family for joining us for this memorial gathering in honor of Daniel Brewer. I feel like I do know just about everyone on this call, but I am Hiranya and I'm one of Daniel's daughters. And you'll also see on your screen my second mom and Daniel's wife, Lisa, the rest of my siblings, Mitra, Andra, and Jonas, and their wives and husbands and kids and mothers, And many of us are actually in Mexico together for the holidays right now. And you will also see my mom, who many of you will remember as Angela Fondelo, who's now Andrea. This is truly an extraordinary time and a very special event. While we held a beautiful in-person memorial in Santa Cruz in California this past September, we always knew that in order to be able to bring together the people that loved my father from all over the world, that we would need to hold an online event, one that would accommodate time zones on both sides of the international date line. It is truly amazing to me, not only that we have the technology to do such a thing now, but that my father's legacy reaches right around the globe, that he touched so many hearts wherever he lived, that we have people calling in from the West and the East coasts of the United States, from Mexico and India. We had some that were going to join us from Europe, even though it's 3 a.m. and they experienced some technical difficulties, but they were prepared to be here to support us. Wherever you're calling in from, we feel so blessed to count each one of you as our friends. And we feel so honored that you have taken this time to acknowledge, celebrate, and share stories of Daniel. I also want to thank Binah, Thillairajah, and Julian Lines and the entire Auroville International USA board and staff for suggesting, planning, and hosting this event for us. It was back in September at the memorial in Santa Cruz that Mary Alexander suggested that AVI USA could support us in not only hosting an international Zoom memorial, but also helping us to set up a memorial fundraiser in my father's name. We are so very grateful to AVI USA for thinking of and supporting our family and undertaking this wonderful event and campaign. And to be honest, I don't think we would have pulled it off without them. I also want to put a shout out to Jules Arindam, who used to live in Santa Cruz and who is now there in Auroville and has kindly stepped up to hold a gathering of Daniel's friends there in AV, offering the tech support and a loving container for folks to join this call. And I hope that they can at least hear us, and we'll see if they'll be able to chime in. And if not by voice, then at least by chat, hopefully. So we're going to begin actually by watching a brief slideshow of my father's life. And as you all know, my father went blind after contracting a rare post-operative bacterial infection in his eyes. Daniel's experience losing his vision and living without sight in the last years of his life was incredibly devastating to him and all those who loved him. This, however, is not what we remember most vividly about Daniel. While this slideshow is just a brief overview of his life, we here on this call collectively remember and can paint an incredibly rich and diverse picture of his life. After the slideshow, a few family members would like to share some words, and then we would like to open it up to any of you on the call who would like to share something. So we're going to start with the slideshow, as I said, and then a couple of us will share before we open it up. Julian, you can go ahead when you're ready and play that. Thank you, Julian. So my father's younger brother was going to read something that he wrote, Jonathan, but unfortunately, he actually had to go to urgent care this afternoon. I think he's going to be okay, but so he asked us to read his piece. So my sister Andra is going to read what Jonathan wrote. Jonathan is Daniel's younger brother by 10 years.
All right. So Jonathan wrote, Daniel was 10 years older than me, and except for vacations, always seemed to be away at school until he dropped out of Berkeley, sailed off to North Africa, made overland journeys to India, and eventually settled in Auroville. Given the age gap, I naturally looked up to him and often bragged to my friends about him because whatever he was doing always seemed to be so cool. At the same time, I was also privy to my parents' judgment of him. By the time I was in college, I often found myself as an apologist for his behavior. My parents continually worried that he would never settle down and in their dreams go back to school and get the PhD that would allow him to become a successful architect. I remember once saying that Daniel was like our pioneer ancestors, and my mother instantly retorted that stumbling down the hashish trail was not what they had in mind. Wit aside, a caricature of the counterculture life he was living then and would continue to live. The truly interesting thing is that my parents had very little idea of the communal networking Daniel was always engaged in, whether it was in Kathmandu, Auroville, Santa Cruz, or Sayulita. My brother was not lionized by professional societies like my father, but he had many friends, some of whom labored alongside of him in a small is beautiful way. I can't help but think how reassured and gratified my parents would be if they could witness the number of people that have fondly remembered Daniel for his good works and loving spirit. It's better, no? Jonathan.
Thank you, Andra. I wanted to just mention to everyone that if you choose speaker view, if you haven't already, then automatically whoever's speaking will make, it will be a bigger window so you can see them more clearly if you wish. Okay, so I'm just going to say a few words. Mainly, we really want to make time for you all to share. In the last years and months of my father's life, we were all living with the pandemic, which kept us from visiting one another until just last May, when we got to have a wonderful last visit with each other here in Mexico. But in those intervening years, we had regular Zoom calls with one another. One of our favorite pastimes was to read the Tao Te Ching together and then reflect and comment on what we had read. I have learned so very much from my father over the years, as I think we all did. Reading the Tao Te Ching together was like revisiting the most pithy, heart-centered, and transforming moments of life, one verse at a time, like perfect little pearls of wisdom strung together. Sometimes we would just read one verse together and sit in silence, or just smile and nod audibly to one another in recognition of the simple truth it held. So tonight I wanted to read one verse, the last one that we read together. Section 1, verse 16. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, disinterested, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. And I really believe that he was. So I'm going to hand back off to Adra, who's going to read a poem that she wrote.
So as Hiranya just said, my dad and I spent Saturday mornings for the last year or so on Zoom together reading poetry. And I would read him old favorites that he would request and new writers that had just been published. And this actually started the reading the poetry out loud started, Susan Derrera, with you. One of the people on this call is one of my former colleagues who, when I told her about my dad losing his sight, she brought me this poem by Liesl Mueller, and it sort of launched this whole poetry reading together. And exactly like Hiranya just said, you know, sometimes it was just sitting quietly with the poem, and his ability to hold a poem in his mind was incredible. You know, I would read a whole poem and he would ask me to repeat one line, or, you know, he would remember a specific word that he wanted to go back to. So, and he was, you know, always encouraging me to write poetry, which I did not follow through on very often. One of the things that I want to be able to share with you all, or remind you all of, I guess, is my dad's incredible sense of humor. And so my nephew, Ezra, Hiranya's youngest son, asked that I read this specific poem that I read at the memorial in Santa Cruz that is pretty funny and quite short. So I'll start with that and then I'll read my own. So this is called The First, and it's by Wendell Berry. The first man who whistled thought he had a wren in his mouth. He went around all day with his lips puckered, afraid to swallow. And then this is a poem that I wrote for my dad 2 days after he died, and it is called Still. Dad, the peonies are still blooming. There are high wispy clouds in the sky, the sun still up at 9, and my lawn is full of aspen saplings and dandelions, those persistent root systems growing, spreading. My kitchen table still bears the stack of poetry books we read from 2 days ago. Ada Limon, Seamus Heaney, Rilke. My friend tells me I sound crazy, but at the moment you died, some 3,000 miles away, I felt a rush of love and joy. Joy. There was a hummingbird clearwing moth, Hemeris thisbe, in my garden last night, and this morning a bird call I couldn't identify. I wish I could see the strands of my own DNA, point out each bit of the tiny, exquisite architecture where you still exist. There, right there, still living and breathing in me. Thank you.
Thank you, Andra. So now we would like to open it up to whoever would like to share. I think I actually just got one email from somebody ahead of time that said so maybe we'll begin with them. Richard, did you want to share something, or would you like to begin? Are you there, Richard? And if not, then we can just go ahead with whoever.
Richard is there. I don't think he knows that he has to unmute.
Oh, Richard, can you unmute?
Yeah,
There
I'm
you
not
go.
very
There you
skilled
are.
at this.
Great. Thank you. Hi.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I've done a couple Zooms, but I'm not very practiced at
You're doing
Um,
great.
it. I have a poem I'd like to read, and it's dedicated to Daniel and Daniel's family from the experiences that I've had over the years with you folks in Santa Cruz, and just as a fellow spiritual quester, so to speak. I am lifted higher, it's called. The truth is within and beyond skylight. Beings are light in contrast to their suffering. The life we experience brings one into the fire, and love soothes the soul. We breathe and feel the earth beneath our feet. You remind me of my purpose. When I forget, you bring me home. I discover who I am in your midst. I am lifted higher. When I realize I am nobody in a hurry, I can only be myself. Each moment in love with the world, the work, the discipline. As the seasons change, falling leaves remind us to prepare for winter's cold, the lighting of candles, the journey we share on planet Earth. We dedicate, toast to those in our family who make a difference, walk their talk, and practice each day loving kindness. In the midst of divisive politics, there is a way forward. In the midst of darkness, the light is discovered through trust. The people are empowered, and families celebrate your life. Snow paths are cleared. Chimneys provide a channel to the stars. Your spirit is with us. Homes, community become beacons of light.
Thank you, Richard. That
Thank
was
you.
beautiful. So if you'd like to share, is Unity Pavilion on now? Can we hear you?
We're going to have something later on when after everyone shares, and we'll turn their opportunity to speak, and we'll spotlight them, and then they'll come up to the computer. But he'll have to turn off the main speakers in order to do that. So we'll
Okay.
keep sharing among those who are online, and then we'll switch to Unity.
Okay, so for those of you who are online, you can wave your hand, or you can use the actual post-it if you'd like to speak or share.
And of course, this doesn't have to be anything prepared in advance. If you're just, moved in the moment, or remember a story or a funny joke or any little thing, it's wonderful.
Sherry,
I would like to jump in. Yeah.
who's,
Anybody else?
yeah, I'm just trying to see. Julian, you got the spotlight, whoever's
We should
speaking?
be getting the audio on. We can't have the audio overhead when we're using the mic right now.
Oops,
So who had their hand raised?
somebody jumped in, but I.
Yeah, I jumped in.
Andrea,
Ah,
Yeah.
there we
I just want to say how happy I am that the picture that is on the announcement with Daniel sitting in this rattan chair with his bowl of coffee, I remember it as if it was yesterday. I made him coffee and he came home to our little hut from whatever he was doing in the village or on the land.
We have to switch back, so I can
there's
do
some
that now.
interruption.
Can we mute
Mute
Unity
this one.
Pavilion?
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Anyway,
Sorry,
I
Andrea.
just remember how happy I was that he was coming home, and I made him this cup of coffee and he was sitting there. So I took that picture, and it was just such a moment of love between us that I'm just really delighted that that is the picture that ended up in the announcement. Yeah, what a wonderful man, and how beautiful that we can all be together. And all your beautiful children and grandchildren. Oh my God. Yeah, thank you to that wonderful man in my life and in all of our lives.
Thank you. Please raise your hand if you'd like to speak, and then Julian will spotlight you.
Yeah, hello, I can speak. Yes. So Merry Christmas to all and Happy New Year's 2023. So I have been contact with Auroville International since last 6 months, I think, through the Binah. And I was staying in India and contact with this Aurobindo Eye Society since last 15 years. So it well to connect with you and know about the all the peoples living in the Auroville. Last times we met,
Yes.
I think the persons who is doing the pottery works in the Auroville. I forget the name, but that was nice interactions. So it know to about the Auroville activity and connecting to the peoples in the Auroville because we are living in the nuclear family in the 21st century and we are losing the value and it's madness towards the careers and the all these stuffs and we are losing the value. So it's well to remember the value of the mother and share window and also just following their uh, teachings in our life. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj, for sharing. Who else would like to share?
I think we have Auroville. So
Oh, perfect.
yeah.
These are some of the people in Unity Pavilion that have known Daniel since the 70s.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Gordon.
Okay, I'm
Please,
Gordon.
yeah, tell us your name and when you start. Yeah, that would be very helpful. Thanks.
Anyway, I'm Gordon. Jean and I came to Kodakarai not too long before Daniel left. And we eventually moved into the little house that under the bow tree that he built. It was quite a refuge, But the story I want to tell is about something that's associated with Daniel before we came. And it's like this. One day, 2 years ago, I was riding my bicycle through Lakshmipuram, along that row of shops that we all try to get through as fast as we can. And there was, there's always been, and you probably remember, there was these shoemakers, these sandal makers, leather workers who were sitting along the side of the road. Everybody probably remembers that. Well, for some reason, I stopped in and I don't know why, and I started talking to them and I started communicating, talking in Tamil because that's the inspiration of Daniel and Yap who really helped me to do that. And it turns out after a discussion that I mentioned Daniel and Kodakarai, and they said yes. And one of the oldest ones said, yeah, Daniel taught us. You know, he was the one who really taught us how to do this work. And we had this moment when we all remembered Kodakarai like that. And it was wonderful to just see that, you know, to see that how his legacy sort of popped up in this unexpected place. And then when I go through now, I see they're no longer sitting along the side of the road. They have their own shop. On the right, as you go into Lakshmipuram, they have their own little shop. It's Asai sandal makers, right? And I'm sure they do a good business with all the tourists who come in with their shoes falling off and sandals. But yeah, so that was.
Sorry, guys. Got my butt in there.
That's the story, and it was, you know, it was such a surprise that it was just really quite cool to remember that. That's a lot of what Daniel did when he was in Kodakarai in the beginning, I think.
Right. Yeah, let's just keep passing it. You guys can hold the mic a little bit closer, or maybe you can here.
Oh, now you got me.
I was with my butt. I was trying to get your attention. And then go ahead and share.
Hi, everybody. My name is Larry, and I actually met Daniel maybe when I wandered into Auroville and walked, at sunset by the banyan tree. I met somebody there and I said, oh, this place looks interesting. And you guys need any help? And actually that person that I ran into at the banyan tree was Namas, who was Dennis back then. And he had mentioned to me that, the next day they were going to begin the excavation of the Matra Mandir. So within the first couple of hours, I was already assigned a job. And then I was looking at the sunset, and then Dennis pointed me to a place where I might get something to eat and have a place to stay. And so that's where I met Daniel. And when I think of myself, my relation to him, I always think of Whitman's poem, "Oh Captain, my Captain," because when I met him, I was so impressed by him. I remember thinking that I'm just going to do anything that this guy is doing and follow him around, and then I'll be okay. And I also was with Daniel at times when he faced these monstrous obstacles that plagued last year. And when Lisa told me how he passed, and that Daniel, every encounter I've had with him was so graceful that it was really a tremendous warm relief to me to know that he passed gracefully because he lived his life so gracefully. And like us all here, you know, I just love him.
Thank you, Larry.
My name is B, and it's a little hard for me to talk. I'm kind of emotional, but I don't think that Daniel has passed. He's here. I feel him turning toward me all the time whenever I think of him, with a certain loving kindness that he always had. And I never met him in any circumstance in which that vibration was not present. And it's always with us.
Hello, I'm Lisbeth. My voice is a bit gone, but I hope you hear me. I came in 1971 and met Daniel and Iris, who already had a little house in Silence, that's where Baranivas is now. And we met Diane, and we were all invited just to live there. Larry came the same year, Roy came the same year, many people came at the time. We had a small community, and Daniel was already doing leather work. By the way, when Gordon mentioned these people, there is the famous Das, who still has his little shoe pitching boot on the Palladium, downtown Palladium. And yeah, Daniel was a rock for all of us. He was about maybe 10 years older than most of us. And yeah, he worked, he was happy. And we were at that time, I think, very innocent. We were just in this beautiful land. And when we had to move from Silence, where Baranivas was planned, we asked mother to start in Kodikurai, since we were already working, doing some agriculture with some Kodikurai villages, and that's how we got there. Now you would try and find a place that would be empty, but at that time we wanted to have the protection of the village and the Casuarina forest that surrounded us. So very good remembrances of Daniel, which was also mentioned in a Zoom a little over 1.5 years ago, that Bobby from Isayambalam at the time is no, at the time Miss Gerhard and Judith and I made a Zoom documentary, kind of documentary, together with Francis and Doris, who sadly left us this year. And we called it the Kodagurai then and now. And we were the 3 Kodagurai girls still left in Auroville. So this is something that Binah and ABI USA helped us with. And you still can look at it. Okay.
My name is Frederick, and I remember this Daniel from very, very early times. And if I think of today, I would think we need him here now, because as it was said, his eyes were really the window to his soul. There was this sweetness and kindness and embrace. And that's what is now needed, the inclusiveness. You might remember the 2 prongs which approach the building of a city were always there. The one from Pondicherry wanted to make a remote control construction and build Auroville within 15 years, and then people would cut the ribbon and we all would move in and live happily ever after. At one side, which is still prevailing somewhere in its own strange form. And the other one who would just come and look and start digging, like Larry explains, people would come and would just take a shovel and what's to be done. And there are a couple of guys like this. I wasn't one of them, really. I always admired them, but I never could do it. Go into the village, wear a dhoti, learn the language, mingle with it wasn't my role, but I always admired the girls, the Larrys, the Dees, the Constance, the Larrys, and I'm extremely grateful of having met him. What I regret is that I never made it down to Mexico. I was in Mexico, Copper Valley, and somehow I was in contact, and then for some silly reasons, I never saw that beautiful bay from his hut, and I would have really loved to meet him there. I think he is right. He is around, and that quality is now absolutely necessary for all of us.
I think we'll go back to the delivery. Can you hear me?
Yeah, they're here.
I'll just go back to the little shoes. Oh, sorry, my name is Raymond, and I grew up in Auroville, and I remember as a young child seeing all these beautiful leather shoes, and they were made by Daniel. I remember going to his hut, and he was there, you know, carving them out and everything. And I told him I wanted a pair of his shoes. I never got the shoes, but then many years later in Santa Cruz, we were talking about it. I said, remember when we made those shoes? He said, oh yes, it was wonderful because I would make custom shoes for people in the village who would come and they would have a toe sticking out this way and a thing, you know, different shape, and I would cut the leather to suit their feet. I thought that was so sweet. And recently I was speaking with Sega, who I invited in Aurokiya, who remembers Daniel, and he said, Daniel, really soft man. And that's true. Really soft man. The other things that I remember, the book on columns with his handwriting, something that was so strange together with Jenna. When I met him in Santa Cruz, you know, we had the piano, we played a lot of the time. There's a lot of things about Danny. He was so talented in so many ways, and just always soft and always kind, and very grateful. Thank you.
Hello. Wow, what a wonderful. My name is Jules Auroville, and I'd like to share with you the same news of Daniel when my mom and I left Auroville in '79. Daniel's family, they have like a little ranch or a farm. And it's kind of like a daycare center for displaced, Aurovilians and stuff. I'm not really sure who was all there. But I fondly remember a lot of activities, a lot of kids running around. And it made the living a little softer. Because like more of like the States at that time. It's like really electricity to not even what's in a TV, quite strange. And then later, I went into Hiranya and families around Santa Cruz, living in Santa Cruz. And then a few years later, I ended up actually living with them, and I moved back to Santa Cruz another time. And I just fondly remember his smile and his just calmness, and something you couldn't be upset around him. You just had a way of just making you feel really at ease.
Hi, my name is Jaap. I came to Auroville around '71, and together with Daniel and Larry and the ladies, we started the Aurokiya community. I have very fond memories of those early years in Auroville, where Daniel built his little hut under the big silk apple tree. Later put up a shed in Palmyra Grove where he had his leatherwork shop. It was a time that was amazing. The experience of starting from scratch on a large area of land and building up this community of Aurokiya. It was actually Daniel who started planting trees in the area. And I started doing the agriculture, looking after all the available land. And he got me also into the tree planting. And when he left, I took over from where he left, and I somehow stuck to that and have been doing that for the past 16 years. Thank you, Dana. You were a great guy. I miss you, and I regret very much that I never realized my plans of coming to Unity over there.
I'm Jean, and with Gordon, we moved into the house or whatever it was across from the storage room. So we always saw everybody in Aurokiya because everybody had to come to the storage to get their distribution. That was a long time ago. Oh my God. And thank you, Jaap, for saying the silk cotton tree. Living after Daniel and Angela and Hiranya and Antara left, we moved into that beautiful house. And that tree was just always, when the silk cotton burst, was gorgeous. And pulling the bucket of water from the well at the kitchen, that was always like, it made you grateful for just being there. So Aurokiya saved us, kept us in Auroville for a number of years when everything went nuts in inspiration. But we had that beautiful community, and we're still very grateful for it.
I also want to mention people who are on here, other people in the community, people like Murugesan and his wife, Ratna, and and Sundram, right? Sundram and Amuda and Kusami and Rajaram, the watchman, and huh? Radha Krishna, the Ayurvedic doctor. Bhuma Devi. And Rajalu and Rajali and Manaka.
Isn't Pyrenees? The dog's name is Morris.
Where's the Pollock? All of those folks were part of the community and they were an integral part. They were in some ways the purpose of the community, I think.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I see that Lisa has her hand up.
We have one more. My name is Jayavati.
Julian?
I was 72. That time I am 6 years old. When I come to Auroville, I didn't know many people. So I go to Kodagara side. When I was small with my father, there was so nice place there. So I was thinking that people should be very nice and they will come in Auroville and they are going to see more developing and everything. That time I was thinking. So slowly, the Auroville is developing very nice. When I am growing, Auroville was growing very nice. So I'm very happy in Auroville. That time, I got one person called Danny. Because Danny, I don't know him very much. When I was very small, he saw me, he said, hi, I go to my father. He said, hi, I am, what is your name? My name is Jayakant, I told him. So he said, he's happy. He had one wife. I was thinking, what who's this lady? And then I asked him, I don't know that time, I was very small, I can't speak English. So that I asked him, what is his name? And I asked him Tamil. He said, her name is Angela. So he had 3 children. I don't remember the name of the children. So I'm very happy at this thing. Oh, look at these children all like me and like that. So I went around on every time I go to everybody, to every place, I go to see everybody. They are all very happy. I am very happy. So after I was waiting, where is that person Daniel? I don't see him anymore now. He's not there. And someone I asked them, Daniel, I asked the people, where is that? That time there was Tamil people are working in that Daniel place. What is the Telugu and some people there. I was very small. I know the people. Murugan, I know Murugan and Ratnama, they were living in Kottakarena before. So I'm very happy to see. I don't see him anymore, Danny and Angela. I was so upset. Now I see many people and that people, I don't see them. So I'm very upset. I think Lisa's got her hand up.
Hi everyone. I just I'm very emotional and I can't speak a lot, but it's so wonderful to see you guys in Auroville. And he never forgot you for a day. You're his real family, you know. I'm happy to see you and thank you everybody for coming. I didn't plan to say anything because I knew I would fall apart, but I'm so happy. I have a little urn, you know, aunt that I made. She's a potter and she made us all urns for Daniel's ashes. And My plan is to come, and I have an urn to bring to Auroville. I don't know. I don't know when I'll have the money to do it, but I hope soon. Anyway, I'm just so touched by everybody's stories and by all the rememberings and to see your faces. Thank you. I love you all.
Hello. Hi everyone, Nadaka here. It's beautiful to have that moment also with Lisa, because in my heart and mind it was always Daniel and Lisa, because that's when I really got to know Daniel later on, a little later in his life. So, I mean, so Lisbeth said, at some point she said he was like a rock, you know, or something. And then I couldn't help thinking he was a rock star of like compassion and love, actually. He was somebody, when I first came to Auroville and I saw Daniel, the first time I ever saw him, he was actually in a field with binoculars, bird watching or something. And I still remember, because I was much younger than everyone at that time. And I still was thinking that it was just such a charisma around this person. It was amazing. So you would see him, I saw him from a distance like that, and I would look up to these guys. Like for me, they were like the wise old people of Auroville. They were probably like, 30 or something like that. But I don't know, but it just struck me that they were like so wise and wonderful. And Daniel was so welcoming in every way. I still remember going to Santa Cruz. He was just all around welcoming everything. And it was not just when you were in his place, even when he would come to you, like if he would come to your place in Auroville, you'd feel welcomed by him. I don't know, there was something special. And so it was always a big deal. I mean, not many people have that thing that he was, you know, that gift that he had of, it was like that, you know, when Daniel and Lisa would come to Auroville, it would be a big deal. Everybody wanted to be with them. And it was like, Daniel and Lisa are here, wow. And there's so many stories, but one of them also is that I remember him deciding to come and meet us in Portland, which was a big trip for him. He was not doing so well already. I remember Hiranya telling me, well, he's not doing that well. He has some physical issues. And so he came to visit us in Portland about maybe, I don't know, that must be like 8 years ago or something like that, or 10 years maybe. And oh, it was such an honor. We were going to have, Daniel is coming all the way to see us. That was like really special. And there's so many little funny stories with him, but one of them was that he would just go along with everything we did, and he was so happy to be with us. And we had a couple of people who had met in Portland. One was an insurance salesman, but he was from India. They were a family from India, and they were this very sort of like middle-class Indians that we sort of like befriended. And then they took us for a ride, and I was sitting in the back with Daniel. And this woman, she's probably about like 40 or something like that. And we're just chatting away about some stories. And she turns around and she looks at Daniel and she says, excuse me, were you a hippie? And then Daniel has this smirk on his face, because I know Daniel used to always tell me I was a little too old to be a hippie. I was already way before that. But he looked at her and he said, with a kind of smirk, he sort of said, well, I guess you could say so. And she actually turned around, her husband was driving, she turned around and she put her hand out and she said, I'm so happy to meet you. I've never met a real hippie before. And Daniel was like, there was just that smile he had, you know, it was just so much fun, you know, it was always so great. Another thing I remember is sitting in Aurodam years ago with Lisa and all. I mean, Lisa will remember that, but days on end, reorganizing the whole of Auroville. Like, I don't know why we got into that, but we thought that we were going to actually find a system that was going to put things in order. And I still remember at some point, there was just this moment where we thought, it was like recreating a parliament. I mean, and at some point there was this thing where we said, yeah, they're like MLAs. And then he said, monitor lizards of Auroville. And we just cracked up, and it just stayed with us. It was got one of these jokes, the MLAs were the monitor lizards of Auroville. So you could have a lot of fun with Daniel. And for me, he was a big influence. And I would say really from that point of view of that feeling that when you were with him, you felt always super comfortable. I mean, there was never any sort of, it was just not in his being to ever judge anything. Everything was just always, he had a certain amount of equality. And so I miss him. And yeah, I felt also in the last times that we tried to communicate a few times. It didn't happen. But anyway, I know that he remains an important part of my life for sure. And what Frederick mentioned earlier also is something very beautiful, is that, yes, we need definitely more people like this in Auroville and in the world. So thank you, Daniel. Thank you, Lisa, also. Hiranya, because Hiranya was also such a sweet moment in my life when I first visited Santa Cruz, and she used to take me by the hand and show me around, and there was that same vibe. So anyway, I'm so grateful and thankful that we could have Daniel in our life, and he's still with us. Thank you.
Thank you. I see, yeah, Lisa, go ahead.
There we go. I am unmuted. Oh my goodness. I am Lisa, and this is my husband, Darren. I think I might get emotional too. Daniel was my uncle, but I didn't have the blessing of knowing that until much later in life. I met him briefly about 30 years ago, and then somehow this beautiful universe let us find a way to connect about 10 years ago. And you know, I think I was only in his presence 3 times, but we would have our calls like this once we found each other over Skype, a lot of family talk. But everything that you have all spoke of is so true. He was the most beautiful man I've ever met. He was such, it was such a beautiful unconditional love that he shared with me, and obviously with everybody on this call. And Lisa, thank you. I've never felt so welcomed into a family as I was by Daniel and Lisa, and I feel him with me all the time, and I see so much of him in all of his children, my cousins. You guys, you all have his beautiful spirit, and I miss him too, but he will be forever with us, and I love you all.
Thank you, Lisa.
Can I say something? This is Mitra, Daniel's son. Lisa, thank you for that. I know he cherished meeting you, and it's a real blessing to have you in our life again. all these voices and faces from the past brings back a lot of really powerful memories. Not all of them coherent, and certainly not in sequential order. First memory of in life is of my father. We must have been somewhere in Central Asia in that little van. I was sitting on the floor playing with something, and he was cooking. It was night. My mom wasn't there. I think she must have been shopping or something. I don't know. I remember she wasn't in the scene. And this is literally my first memory in life, is him looking down at me and saying, "Do you want an egg, Em?" And that is my first memory of him giving me something, asking me how I was, and did I need anything. Well, that's it. That's all I have to say. But that's my first memory.
Thanks, Mitra. I see Elena. And Davina waving. Okay.
It's getting late here. It's wonderful to see some people I've known for a long time. And I'm thinking about Daniel, who I lived for 5 months, perhaps, at Winter Street Extension. And he was such a sandal maker. How many of us are there who were shod by him spiritually for our spiritual paths? I'd never met anybody like him. He changed my life, being there in that community with Angela and the children and all the other people living in the caravan and coming to weed the carrots and coming for big parties and going in and out with their love affairs and their spiritual crises and all the bawling that was done. I'd never known anything like this. And he shod my feet with his laughter, with his interest, with his endlessly connecting me with people and with myself, actually. And there was always a poem, wasn't there? So often there was a poem or a line from Rumi. And the thing I remember most was how he would say, like that, often at the end of what he said. And so, Daniel, I'm saying, thank you, like that.
Thank you, Davina. Elena?
Hi, this is Nathaniel and Elena. I just the mention of the first egg memory, that was what I was going to say, is that actually every time I crack an egg, I think of him, because he talked about scooping out the last bit of the white from the the eggshell so that you don't waste any. And that, I don't know, it's just a thing. I always think of him when I do that. Just wanted to share that.
Maybe I'll say something. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Octavia, and I wasn't planning on saying anything, but here I am. And I was supposed to be in Mexico right now, but still here in California waiting to get there. So I just wanted to share that, it's just an interesting relationship that I've had with Daniel and Lisa. I met them when I was, I don't know, 32. And, you know, Daniel was, what, 35 years older than me. But we shared such a special bond, both being Virgos, both being gardeners, both living in Santa Cruz. We just had so many commonalities. And when I first moved to Mexico, I was lucky enough to meet them. And they just became my family down there. And through the years, I've just become close with Jonas and Julia, and Hiranya and I have drove to Mexico 3 times together. And I've just met Jill and Mitra and everybody and Antara all through the years. Just feel like I'm just kind of this integrated part of the family. And it's just, they were always home for me, you know. I could always go to their house out there in Caricitos, and they were always home. They always offered me tea, and it was always a joke because I'd always show up for breakfast. You know, it's like, oh, must be breakfast time because Octavia's here. And they watched me, you know, raise my children. And it's just amazing how, you know, 20 years has passed and we've formed this friendship and this family. And they were just, you know, it's just been this beautiful relationship to have a friendship with someone who has such a history, and I can see life lived and just have learned so much through him and through them. I mean, to me, they're a pair. It's a them. And I'm just super grateful to Daniel, and I'm very grateful to Lisa for just all the love that we've shared. And I just want to share that I was with Lisa when we said goodbye to Daniel the day he passed. I was with Lisa and Jonas as we watched his body being carried off, and that's probably one of the most profound moments of my life. And I'm just so grateful that it happened that way, and I could say my goodbyes to him. And he did go peacefully, and he was so loved. And I'm can't wait to get down there, Lisa, and see you. So I love you guys.
Thank you so much, Octavia. You have beautiful words to share. And I think what you said, so many of us have said and felt that Daniel created home wherever he went, and he was home for so many. Thank you for sharing those words. We do have a few more things that we want to share on this call, and we want to respect everyone's time. But if there's anyone that has something burning they'd really like to share, we can do that. One more person maybe. And otherwise, for those who can and want to, we can stay on a little bit after this next part of our call. So I see somebody in the Unity Pavilion, it seems like has their hand up. If you would like to say one more thing now.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, hi, Ganapati, please go ahead.
That's my legal name. My name is Narayana. I think most of the former Aurovillians knows me. I'm the very first Aurovillian I met was Daniel and his son Mitra. I got really emotional too. So I don't know what else to say. Right now I'm in Muntanthurai. I just got the memory. And a few years later, I came to Auroville, and then so there I am. And then I met later on Lisa and Daniel, and of course I took Mitra again to out in the field in Muntanthurai and Animalize. So it's just a good memory. That's all I need to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing. I see the hand up for the Unity Pavilion. Is there somebody there that would still like to say something now, or would you like to wait and chat a little bit later? Oops, the audio is pretty difficult.
Can you guys hear me? So we are.
Yes.
I'm going down and spin around the same thing.
Okay, one moment, please. And if you turn the camera here, please.
Yep.
you. Just.
Good morning to everybody.
So you won't hear yourself, it is working.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they do. It's which
So I'm very happy to be here with all our friends who has a very strong memory of Daniel. Because when I know him, I was 16 or 17. Because when I came to Auroville in 79, so he was living in now it's called Pony Farm, but he was living there. So it was so lucky that I got opportunity to take care of his children, and as well as Judith and Judith's children. So I was very happy to see him every day. And yeah, I know that he's the one of the founder of Kotakare. So Kotakare area, it was a very big area. Now it became small, but he's the one who always I see that he has always Mamti with his hand or small cultivator, always go there and taking the plant and planting here and going there and making a bun, always moving with the compost and all. So I was thinking what he's doing, why he's always moving with the buckets and all. So because I was young, I did not know so much. We have to plant so much. But he was the person who created Kotakare, one of the person, Kotakare area, planting so many of the trees and so many good-hearted happiness plants. And yes, last time when I met him with the laddie and all at home, and he was so happy and being with us and talking to us. Yeah. It was very, very good memory. After many years, he came to Auroville and stay in our house, and he was so happy to be talking so many things, but I don't remember what he was talking. And yeah, it was very, very good memory. And when I heard that he's having some difficulty with the eyesight and all, and we were all praying for him. And yes, then when I come to know that he passed away, we really feel that like one of our family member, of course, he's one of our family member who passed away. So we were really concerned and deeply praying for that his soul should be really in a good place and peace and quiet. So that's all what I would like to say. Yeah, we are all thinking of him and he's all in our heart. So he's more than in California, he's here all the time. That's what I really feel, that he's here with us. Thank you.
Good morning, I'm Sundaram. Good morning, I'm Sundaram. I was born in Kotakare village. I grew up in Auroville. Here, all my family is here now. I'm missing one of the members. Deeply in my heart is the Daniel. It's I was sitting 6 meters from my house. Always I had in this Kotakare community. He's the one telling me, Kabi, go to school, get an education, you will be grown up bigger, then you will have education more important. Please try to go to the school, like I said. Come on, Daniel, I want to learn you guys by practical education, by other education. These are that I really like such a deep person. You can say that Daniel is passed away. He given good memory of the Kotakare area. He is really like once world and gold. I really like it. Gold heaven is there. So still we are really, when he was very sick, we went to the Shivan temple, we went to other temple to protect. Anyway, that's all. But anyway, he's passed away. It's still in our heart. We're giving our heart is there. Such a great person is not there. Kotakare is never developed. Kotakare village is whenever he is coming from USA, He's sitting with me. How is Ranganathan? How is Rajamanikam? How is Kotagara people? He has good memory, good heart. And I sit down like that, okay. Let's go and visit the Kotagara area. We went street by street, house by house. This is kind of, oh, everybody hug, everybody giving some food, everything like that. Such a great person we are missing. It's really, I can't that myself. You know, there are really, my families are sitting here, also like Elizabeth, Larry, Dean and Gordon. These are the people that I never forget in my life. What is that mother, Asya mother said? When you are saying in Auroville, you need to learn Tamil first, second languages, you can go for English, but they know English, but they're trying to be learned at such a great person. These are people are still learning Tamil. They know very well Tamil. Daniel also know very well Tamil. We don't know. There's a lot of things to tell about it, Daniel. Really, I tell you that such a person, even he went to that till that bioregion of Auroville, he went to all the villages, Annanagar, and Thuruvai, and Yedenjavadi, and Kuyapalayam also. He said, what we can do that, even see that when Daniel and Daniel came and he said, why not you develop this Kali temple? He's the one who is asking me. Yes, we can develop, but there is no clue on how to develop like that. See, in the Kali temple is very old trees are there. We should not prune and anything and keep it as an old temple. We need to develop more tree plantation all around like that. Because, you know, see, this family and Daniel is not there, but Kotagarai, even Kotagarai area is not developed at all. Because I tell you very deeply, in Kotagarai area, people are living there that time. They're really sharing anything with the villagers, really like good Aurovillian. They are the really example Aurovillian. Really, we are missing one of the person is created the Kotagarai. I really like deeply put it in my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, all of you there at Unity Pavilion. I know that I think that your room needs to be taken over. Yes, thank you for being with us. For the rest of you, please stay on. I think Arki, maybe you had your hand up. We have time for just one more if you would like to share, and then we'll move on.
I'm Arki, and this is Ginger. And we were friends with Daniel for 50 years. Our lives were knit closely together, never out of touch. And to share your feelings on behalf of our most dear friend, Daniel, is very moving and meaningful to us. As with others, I feel emotionally tied up in a way where I can't really be very effective in speaking to you. I'm sorry, but Daniel was a major part of our life, and it started in India, and it continued all the way through Santa Cruz and Sayulita, and we did that whole path in our life together with Daniel. The loss of him slowly at the end of his life was the most agonizing experience I know in regard to other persons. So anyway, we're here. We happen to be in California at the moment, and our life in Mexico has turned into a life in the California suburbs. Not to our liking entirely, but that's the way it's worked out. And so we'll leave you with that and say best wishes. And we're so happy to be part of this. We were out of the country for the first memorial and unable to be there. So here we are now, and it's a real blessing to be with all of you.
Thank you, Arki. Thank you, Arki and Ginger, for being with us. It's wonderful to see you here. And thank you to all of you for sharing beautiful words and memories. We would like to now show you a brief video about Aurokiya and introduce to you Aurosugan. We know that it's getting late for some of you, so we'll try to respect our time and not take too long, but we have some really exciting information to share with you. And I just wanted to say first, what's probably obvious to all of you, that we chose to support a preventative eye care program in Auroville as a way to not only give back to the community that my father loved so much and which gave so much to our entire family, but also to do what we could to ensure that preventable blindness is not something anyone else has to suffer. So with that, we're going to play a short video about Aurokiya, and then please stay on to meet the founder, Aurosugan, who will share a few words before we wrap up.
My name is Venkateshan, also known as Aurosugan in Auroville. I did all my schoolings in Auroville and then went on to do my MBA in healthcare management. I worked at Aravind Eye Hospitals for 12 years as a management person in the Pondicherry branch. So after some time, after 10 years at work at Aravind, there was some call that I need to come back to Auroville. I started my own activity called Aurokiya. Aurokiya in Tamil is sound health. This is a permanent setup near to Auroville, accessible to the bioregion. The vision of this particular activity is a healthy Auroville and a healthy bioregion, because I also feel it's important for Auroville to focus on the health of the people who live and who are part of the Auroville community also, like the workers who come every day here. I took the field of eye care, which I was trained in, which I had an experience of 12 years at Aravind. Aurokiya focuses on health promotion, health prevention through primary care. Like health promotion is to change the behavior of the people, to change their lifestyle to be a healthy person. So this could only be achieved through increasing the awareness, health literacy of the people. The other part is prevention part through primary care. Primary care is not to have a big setup which is costly, and to more find out people with health problems at the early stage and to give them the possible best treatment. So what do we do through Aurokiya? I can just give you a small example. If you take the diabetes population in India, it's about 12%. Okay, so what does this do with eye? It is called diabetic retinopathy. It's a condition where the blood vessels of the eyes get affected due to diabetics, which is irreversible blindness. If we screen these problems at the early stages, we can reduce the cost for the patients, and we can also increase the quality of the life for the patients. We have 2 people running this center. They are trained optical technicians. A patient can walk at any time into this center. They don't need an appointment. So the patient is being registered. So we have an electronic medical record system to track the progress of the patients, as well as to have data, and the patient is given a small ID card which they bring for the next time. Once a patient comes just for a normal checkup, we do a complete eye examination. Like for example, taking an image of your eye, you can really screen the diabetic retinopathy. Once all these investigations are being done, the patient is again presented to a doctor who is remotely at Auroville. So Auroville has been a partner for us. Auroville Eye Hospital Pondicherry has been a partner with us, who are giving us consultation support. And the doctor at that remote place can see all the information, can see all the investigations. So if they advise, if they say it's a normal and we can give an eye drop or an eyeglass here, and if it's a very major reason and they need a referral, the patient is referred to Auroville Eye Hospital immediately, and there the patient is being taken care. So by this method, around 80% of the eye problem is taken care here. We also focus on schools. School screening is one of the important aspects of Aurokiya eye care. Now the use of digital technology has really increased very high. And a lot of people spend a lot of time on these mobile screens, which they do not focus on the distance vision. So as a result, what happens? Children develop myopia, which is a sight problem, at the young age. So to address this problem, we started a campaign to do school screenings for all the schools in Auroville and in the bio region. The other part is we are also going to focus on eye screening for the workers who are working in Auroville, in like Mathuramandir, Maroma. There are big organizations where more than like 50 to 100 people are working. So we need to do a eye screening. So workplace screening will also be a part of Aurokiya eye care. We are also doing community eye camps. So where we screen for cataract eye problems. So this will be like mega camps where we screen 200 to 300 patients in a day.
The information from.
Thank you. I just wanted you to meet Aurosugan. Aurosugan, are you there? Are you able to come say hello briefly? Give it a moment and see if he is there in the pavilion. Aurosugan, are you there? Are you able to say hello? Well, there, is that you? There you are. Let's give them a moment here to figure out their technology. There you are. Hello, Aurosugan.
Sorry, we were just having another meeting, so we needed to shift the place. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Choose speaker. Now you have to choose
We hear you.
your internal Realtek audio. No, I think or standard.
We hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry about this. I think we just need to vacate the place because we have another meeting there.
Okay.
So it was really great. So thank you so much for all for joining us. So firstly, I would like to thank her Grace for showering all her blessings to us and also giving me this opportunity to serve. Okay, if I would have not taken up this project, I would have not met these wonderful people and this wonderful hearts here. So I think I'm very thankful to Mother Grace and Daniel, who is showering his blessings from the top towards us. So I am a person who is a beneficiary. So a lot of people have talked working with Daniel, but I am a person now who I'm seeing the fruit of what Daniel put in Kottakarai. So I am also from Kottakarai area. So I've been there for now 32 years. So I am now taking the fruits of the seeds, whatever Daniel has sowed in. So I'm very happy for this. And since a lot of people share their ideas, I went into the Kottakarai history because as a person, I really like history. So even it be the Tamil history and the Kottakarai history. So I went through the document that was shared by the early stages of Kottakarai. And in this 1 week, I met a lot of people. Some people could not come here. I'll just take the laptop with me so I can just maybe talk to here because I'm just needing the setup. So a lot of people could not come here, but I got the opportunity to meet a few people who were mentioned in this particular document of Kottakarai history. A lot of people were not are not there. Actually, a lot of people passed away, but I got this opportunity to meet their children and tell to them about what Daniel, and I gave this memory card of Daniel which Hiranya sent to me. So that was really an experience, and they shared all their experience. I was able to meet Boma, who was there in Matarimandir. I went to Matarimandir to meet her. I went to also meet the son of Murugesan. So because I knew him as a grandfather, so I went to meet him. So I asked him to share this experience with his children because a lot of us didn't know the history, so history is very important to us and we need to really appreciate and be grateful for whatever has been given to us. So I think that is the reason why I went in. So I'm really happy to be really part of this. And I believe for everything there is a reason. What in Gita it says, everything there is a reason to happen. So a lot of people asked me when I was at Aurovill Eye Hospital, you were in such a good position. Why did you want to quit and come back to Auroville? I had no clue. I said, I don't know. Just a night, I just woke up and I said morning to my mother. And importantly, I had to convince my wife because mother is easy to convince. To convince my wife was difficult that I'm going to quit my job at Aurovill and come back to Auroville. So she really understood it. I just said the next day morning, I'm going to quit. And just in 2 days, I said, Aurovill, I'm going to, sorry, sir, I want to go back to Auroville. And he said, like, what are you going to do there? Because I have been having some experience that after my education, I came back to Auroville. And from Auroville, I was sent to the ashram. And ashram, I was sent to Auroville. So it was a circle, now again, coming with all this experience back to Auroville was really enriching. So I came here. I really did not have the idea of setting an eye setup because I've been managing for 12 years. But when I came to Auroville, a lot of villages knew me because, I was at Auroville, I always helped them out. Whenever they came to Auroville, they would give me a call. I'm waiting for a long time. Could you help me? It's too crowded. Could you help me? I can't see. Could you help me? Like these are things. And once I came out, they ask you, why did you come? You are very helpful to us. Now it's very difficult to go there. I said, then this thought process just came in. Why don't I set something that could help the people here? So I just tried to shorten the dream of Aravind. Aravind's dream is to eliminate blindness globally, but I made it to eliminate blindness in Auroville and bioregion. So that was my vision. So I just took up that and I said, I'll start it. Because eye care is one area where you need the equipments are a bit very costly. You know, you need very delicate equipments to do eye testings. So it was very a tough decision to take. But I remember whatever all that was talked to me at Aurovill. You know, if you have a good will or if you have a good dream, things will just follow up. I think that is how it has just been following up me. So I got some good support and I got some mentorship from a lot of people, and Aurovill just came in to help me out with all this activity. So that is how that has been really happening from my side. That is apart from Aurokiya, but I would also like to recall Daniel a bit, because I hope you heard my mother talking. So once Daniel was in Kottakarai, I don't know if many people know, my grandfather was in the fertile windmill side. So his name was Perumal. He was planting the trees in fertile windmill side. So I really matched those both. You know, like he had a big beard. You know, my grandfather also had to have a big beard and had the same kind of a head. So I really matched that. So I really feel Daniel, you know, resembles my grandfather. So it's really helped, really, you know, giving this show. It's my grandfather or Daniel, you know, giving me this thing to go forward. So that is what I want to like to share with you. I think about Aurokiya, you heard from the videos much. And lastly, I'll also like to thank AVI USA very much, because, you know, once you have aim, you have thing, but I was also new. I did not know much people. But when I just got the connection with Binah and AVI USA, how enthusiastic they showed, you know, how they showed their interest to see what it is and to learn what it is. And it was very, you know, they understood the problem and things like that. So I was really helpful. I got a lot of support from AVI USA, you know, from my website, my Facebook, even from Yona, you know, small things, because I'm the only person running the show. I'm not part of a big setup, so I'm the only person running the entire show. And then next to Hiranya, you know, when this idea came, when Binah and Matthew came here and this put this, I was thrown out, you know, because being at Aurovill, I also shared this with Hiranya. I know the pain of people who are blind, you know, in the old ages. You know, they're not able to take their medicines, they are not able to walk on their own, they need other support. This is huge pain. I think this is what that was taught to me at my early life. You know, don't think as a person, don't see that a person who is coming to your hospital, see as a soul that is coming in search of light. Okay, so you are going to give light to them. So how do you act to that? So these are the things that really enlightened me and brought this consciousness into me. So I really like to thank Hiranya and the entire family of Daniel for supporting Aurokiya, and we will ensure that the journey of Aurokiya continues towards giving light through Daniel's vision. So that is what we like to promise. And at this time, I also like to inform you that maybe in February, I will do camp in the memory of Daniel Brewer for Auroville. So that will be a mega camp that I'll do for all the Auroville aged people who are not able to, you know, who know Daniel and who are not able to move towards, you know, travel, you know, take a cab and go to the hospital. So we'll, in the name of Daniel, we'll do an eye camp in Auroville. And I've also set up the location, which we'll share it with you shortly. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Orosugan, for your pure vision and your compassionate energy, and for joining us on this call and for doing the incredibly important work that you are doing there in and around Auroville. And with that, I would also like to say thank you to each and every one of you who are still here on this call. I know for many it's quite late. This was the best we could do to accommodate many time zones. So we so appreciate you being here with us, celebrating Daniel's life in such a good way. He is with us here. Many of us have said that today and every day in all of our small acts of generosity. He is with us whenever we take the time to stop and talk to a friend and really listen to what is on their hearts. He is with us when we undertake efforts to beautify and preserve this precious planet of ours. And he is with us every time we choose love. So please know that you are all in our hearts. We would love to hear from you, so please keep in touch. And if you like, you can visit the beautiful tribute page that AVI USA created for my father. And with that, we'd like to say good night. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you, Hiranya.
Good night, everybody. If you want, you can unmute and say goodbye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Nice to meet you all.
Good night,
Again.
everybody.
Bye. Good night.
I love you.
Bye, well.
Happy New Year to all.
Good night.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Mhm.
Lots
Thank
of
you,
love,
Orosugan.
lots of love to Fanu, remembering Brian also, and Robert Lawler, other friends who are moving on.
Yeah.
Yes.
They'll
And
be
Steve very
planting
much
trees,
there. Yeah.
planting trees in heaven.
Thank you. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, Binah.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
Yana.
night, everybody.
Still there. Okay. Naraka.
Thank you, Nautica. Nice to see you.
Check out.
Nautica, I'm not hearing what you're saying. No, still not. Try again. Can you mute and unmute? Try now, unmute. There you go. Now try.
We heard the guitar, but not you.
Yeah, funny. What's happening there? Fanu, I wanted to just reach out and say thank you for the inspiration. I think that with Brian's memorial coming first, we really had something to inspire us and something to follow. So thank you for that.
You know, I wanted to say something that is for me is very obvious, that I think it's a quality of the Aurovillian. They never leave us. And it's, yeah, and we are, I feel it in my own life. People don't really understand that Brian is so much with me all the time, but it is true, and it is true for Daniel, it is true for Dee, it's true for all our friends who have already gone. And I think this is a quality of Auroville. We'll see. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to see you. I remember meeting you in California when we come back from Auroville, and again it was to be in Auroville again, just in your community. And we played ping pong to the nude. In the nude, I never did that before. I never did that before.
Ping pong in the nude. How come I don't remember that?
Yeah. And I remember this freedom and this so natural. So I'm very glad to have seen Lisa too, that I have always heard about but never met personally. So Lisa, you really are in my heart today. Thank you. Yeah.
Nautica, I want to hear what you're saying, but your words aren't coming through. I don't understand. When you play the guitar, it comes through, but when you speak, it doesn't come through. We'll wait for you. Go for it. Yep. Yeah, he thought he would. Oh, he's gonna go.
Russell and Dennis.
Hi, Russell. Hi, Dennis.
We see you soon.
See you soon.
Are they coming down here? Oh, you get to come down here. How fun.
Are you all there? How many of you are there?
We're here. Andra's here. I'm here. My husband Doug and our kids are here. And Jonas and Julia, of course, you know, they live here. And we're just here through the 31st.
Sweet.
We will miss you.
When do you get to come down?
The 9th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous here right now. Say that again?
Give Lisa a little space before we.
Yeah.
Not really. I'm leaving on the 8th.
That's right.
Oh, honey, thank you. That was really beautiful.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
Thank you
I'm
so
sad we
much.
missed the first one, but this was really, really sweet.
Yeah, it was good to be here for this one at least. I'm so sorry we missed the one in person.
Well, good that you could be here.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Blessings. Thank you for doing this.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great. Nautica's come back. Let's see.
Are you there? Can we hear you now? Connecting to audio. You're just gonna have to call us another time, Nautica.
Now.
Now unmute now?
I'm here. Am I here?
Yes, we hear you.
But I went on the phone. I had to go on the phone.
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, this was beautiful. I wanted to also congratulate, I believe it's Vengadesh is his name.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful. Huh? I mean, that's so heartwarming. And I'm going to go to his clinic. You know what? I realized that I saw it in Quillapalam and I thought, you know, there's all these little things popping up, but it's not a small thing. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I think it was a beautiful meeting today, no?
Yeah.
Wow. How wonderful.
Yeah, I'm
Great.
so inspired by his work. We talked for a while, a couple of times, and he's such an inspiring individual, and the work that he's doing is really, really so crucial, you know, like necessary. Yeah. And helpful.
Absolutely. Great. And is everyone still here? Everybody's gone by now, I guess.
Just
no?
a few of us, last
Okay.
holdouts.
Yeah. No, so what I was just doing those few notes, and strangely you said you could hear it. So
yeah. Nice.
So nice. I'm so glad that so I hope that we will be seeing you all here in Auroville or somewhere around the world.
Are you back in Auroville?
Yes, I am in Auroville. Yes, very much so. Yeah, the last years I've been mostly in Auroville, and we are doing a very beautiful space for music and expressive arts, because that's what Aurokiya does. And so, yes, we've been very much here. Yeah. So what I was saying is, what I was saying is lots of love to all of you, Lisa, Antara, Hiranya, and then as I said, like there are so many others. Mitra was amazing to see, because you know I still see him in Auroville walking with a stick in his hand or something, just like some wild boy, and he had a T-shirt that said, "I am a human being." And in those days, T-shirts with things written on them was not that common. It was, it was there, of course, in America and stuff, but for Auroville, it was very cool to see a T-shirt with something written on it.
Funny.
And I tell you, I have so many stories with Daniel, and also I just improvised a couple of them. But there was another thing also that was really nice to remember is, in that special tree that was above their house in Kotakarai, they had the very rare 2 vultures that would be in that tree. Did you ever hear about that?
No.
So they're called, I'll send you the link to what they are. I have not seen a single one in Auroville since at least 30 years. They are very rare. They are these huge vultures. They are called pharaoh chickens, but they are vultures, and they have a beautiful yellow breast, and they're these huge birds. So I still remember that, and I talked to Daniel about it, and he remembered them, of course, very well. So they used to have that tiny little house what looked like really a little hut under there. And the tree, the silk cotton was so huge. And still I remember going there and seeing these incredible, immense birds perching on top. And so this is also a very beautiful souvenir I have of that.
Yeah.
And another thing that could be in memory to Daniel, and I think he would like that, was I said at a meeting earlier about Kotakarai, that there's only one thing that hasn't changed in Auroville since 50 years. It's that puddle in front of the Kali temple. It's amazing, but when you are actually, I swear to God, it's the same damn thing since 50 years. Everybody's going around in circles to try and go around that huge puddle on the road. So that makes me feel good. And so whatever happens in Auroville, whether there is a Crown Road or you know, some other roads, etc., please let's try and protect that puddle.
Protect the puddle.
Protect that puddle, because it has not changed. I mean, the whole topography of it is exactly the same as it ever was, and people are still scrambling, trying to get around it.
So funny.
Okay.
Nautica, we're going to let some of these folks for whom it's getting quite late go off the phone, off the call, but let's have a call with you one of these days, you know.
Yes,
We're just a phone call away.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to make a move also. I'm so glad that I could be there, be part of this, and lots of love to all of you.
Thank you. Great. Thank you so much. Wonderful to see you.
Bye. So.
Thank you, Binah. Thank you, Julian.
Thank you.
This was really
Thank
lovely.
you.
Well,
I just want to mention that I will be in Auroville with Aurelia from the 9th to the 24th of February. So I hope I am bringing some Brian's ashes, and also we will plant a tree. So I know it's AVI as a meeting, but I hope we can find a good time.
Wonderful.
So good night to everyone.
Good night. We'll talk again soon, Binah and Julian. Take care.
Thank you, you guys. That was beautiful. I think it touched a lot of hearts.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good night.